What's up, guys? Welcome back, LEOPAZZO Productions. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is the part 2 video about the Osee G7 Pro external camera monitor. If you guys are not familiar, this monitor is jam-packed with a bunch of features. For an example, 7-inch touchscreen, 3000 nits, HDMI, SDI, so many features, guys, along with the camera control. Yes, you heard me right. This monitor can control our cameras, along with all the tools, the user interface. It is jam-packed. So guys, this is the part 2 video, which I'm going to be focusing on the menu settings, user interface, and all the controls and tools that we have available on the monitor itself in use, kind of testing it out and just kind of going through it with you. Part 1 video, if you guys have not watched it, I totally recommend. It's basically like an overview about everything you need to know about the monitor. And part 3, for an example, is going to be specifically on how I connect this monitor to my Panasonic GH6. Again, this monitor can support several different camera brands and along with several different models. And it's a lovely feature that I definitely want to share with you guys. All right, guys, so now that I have the G7 Pro powered on via the MPF battery, and I have the HDMI cable connected right now to the input from my laptop, just kind of displaying some colorful images over here. So with the easy to operate touchscreen control interface, the G7 Pro is actually a real pleasure to work with, to be able to quickly and easily bring up all of our menu and settings and tools on this monitor. So just to go ahead and get you guys quickly a little bit more familiar, if we tap over here onto the bottom left hand corner, you can see that we brings up all of these different icons over here, and we have some information along the top. But just quickly having a closer look, if I start off by just tapping this first icon over here, which is my RGB waveform, I have control of where the position goes onto the screen, the opacity, and also the size as well. So just to go ahead and quickly show you guys, you can see over here as I go ahead and swipe up, we do have some further controls. For an example, the RGB style, is that the type of waveform, or do we want the parade style or the Luma style? So in my case, I like to use the RGB style. And the size, what size do we want it? Right now I currently have it small. We can set it to large, and we can set it along the bottom as well. So in my case, I like to have it small. And where do I want it? Either top right, bottom left, or top left, etc. So overall, it is nice to be able to control all of this. And I will mention some of our different icons and tools over here do have this additional arrow over here that allows us to go to the next screen to access even more menu settings. For an example, this one gives us the option to adjust the density of that waveform as well. So right now you can see that I can toggle by just simply touching these arrow buttons. I like to leave it around the 70% mark or so, just because it's a little bit easier for me to see. And along with the opacity, so for an example, we can make it 25%, 50%, or 75. If you wanted to delete this tool, you can simply just see the garbage can over there. You can press it. You can either confirm to delete it, or you can cancel to delete it. So let's go ahead and disable the waveform for now. Let's take a look at the next one over here, which is my focused assist. So if I go ahead and swipe up, you can see that we can change the color of that focus assist, focus peaking. We can also adjust the sensitivity and also the color background. Let's go ahead and disable this one. Let's take a look at the next one over here, which is my audio level meters. You can see that I have it positioned onto the bottom left, and the opacity is set to 100. Next over here, we do have our look, which is basically our LUT. So I've actually imported my own custom LUTs over here. So I can easily turn it on and turn it off. And I can swipe up, for an example, and configure even more further details if I would like to. So do we have user LUTs that we want to use? Do we have SDR soft clip options? Or do we want HDR soft clipped options? So in my case, I like to use my own custom LUTs. And which LUT do I want to use? Well, I've only configured 3 LUTs over here. As you can see, LUT 1, LUT 2, and LUT 3, depending on which camera I'm using. And let's say we wanted to go to this one over here, LUT 2, it displays the LUT name that would actually have it saved to. And one actually really cool feature over here, if we go and press this arrow button, this will actually allow us to adjust the user LUT sensitivity. So let's go back over here and let's disable this little LUT option. And let's go and have a look at this next one, which is the grid lines. As you can see right now, I have mine set to 2x2 or 3x3, you would say. or we can toggle on all of these different options that we have available. Let's go ahead and disable this one. And over here, we do have another one, which is basically our aspect ratio. So right now you can see that we do have a couple of options. For an example, we can set basically a 4:5, 1:1, a 4:3. We got a cinema option, we have the standard 16:9, and we have another cinema option, or we can do a custom one. So ones that I'd like to use are the cinema ones, and also this 9:16 one as well. So when I want to film some vertical videos, and the opacity. So you can see onto the left and right, it's actually totally black because I have the opacity set to 100. But if I wanted to, I could set it to 25%. So it's basically kind of just graying it out a little bit for me, so I can kind of just focus on what's important, the center area of the video. So again, suited to your needs. So for now, let's just go ahead and disable this. And next over here, we do also have the false color option. So underneath the false color, you can see that we have the spectrum style, which I'm currently in right now. We can also set a custom style or follow camera style. But if you notice that if I come over here to the custom style, this is where we're going to actually have more further controls over here. So black clip max, near black max, and tone 1 min and tone 1 max, and etc, etc. So we do have nice further controls over here, and along with the code value. So for now, let's just go ahead and disable it. So if we wanted to go ahead and add more tools over here, we can click this little icon onto the bottom right hand side, which basically shows this little plus icon. So let's click on that, and you can see that these are all the different tools that we can add. For an example, aspect, safe, center, crosshatch, anamorphic, false color, zebra, waveform, vector, histogram, focus assist, peaking. We got the look, which is our own custom 3D LUTs. We got the multi-scope, which is actually a real nice one as well, the audio meters and time code. So let's just quickly add the multi-scope over here because I want to show you guys this one. So this one is actually really nice. It still gives me a nice display over here of whatever I'm filming. My vector scope, I got my histogram, I got my audio level meters, and along with my waveform. So that is definitely really nice. So I can easily toggle that on or off just like that. So to continue to get you guys a little bit more familiar, let's go ahead and tap this bottom right hand corner, this icon over here, which is going to bring up our monitor settings. So for an example, we can go ahead and tap on input, and we can switch the input between HDMI or SDI. We can actually only use one at a time. So if we want to use HDMI, we got to stick to HDMI. If you want to use SDI, this is where you're going to go ahead and swap that right over there. We do have the options to regulate basically the backlight and the volume. So basically, how bright do we want that monitor to be? In most cases, I like to set it to basically 5 or full brightness, depending on my environment of filming, and also the volume for the headphone monitoring as well. And just to go ahead and demonstrate that, if we actually close this menu and say we're filming, onto the right hand side of the screen, if we go ahead and go down or we slide up, this is actually going to be adjusting the volume of the headphones, which we can quickly, easily access. And same idea over here onto the left hand side, we can adjust the brightness by sliding up or sliding down or putting it anywhere in between. So overall, as you guys can see, it's very intuitive and easy to use. So let's go back over here into the menu. Let's see what other options that we have over here. So we just looked at input and regulate. Let's take a look at the control. So this is where we're going to be able to pick either our camera or turn it off or do a calibration. So how do you want to do that calibration? For an example, we can also do that. So camera, the connections, and what are we going to be triggering? Are we going to be triggering for video or for photo? So in most cases, I would be setting it to my camera. I would be using USB connection, and I would be controlling it for video. Next over here, we do have the option to rotate the screen if we want to, vertically and horizontally, so we can configure that all over here. We got the status bar, so this information here at the top, do you want it to be on, or do you want it to be off, or do you want it just to be displayed the battery? So in most cases, again, battery or on or off. I like to leave it on because it's not really too distracting, and it gives me some information over there that could be useful. So let's back out of there. We got the range as well. So this is another one that I've noticed that I feel that this is the best setting for my needs, 0 all the way up to 1023, versus we can set it to auto, or we can set it to 64 to 940. So in my case, I like to use this setting over here as far as the range. Let's back out of here and take a look at the matrix. So as the matrix, we do have a couple of options over here. So Rec 709, as you see right now, we got Rec 2020, we got auto 601, and 709 again. So I like to leave mine at 709. Let's take a look over here at the color. So this is where we're going to be able to adjust the log style or the standard. So let's keep it over here to log for an example. And now we can go ahead and select our camera that we're using. So are we using an ARRI, Blackmagic, it got a Canon, we got Fuji, our Nikon, Panasonic, we got a Red, or even a Sony. So depending on what you have, you can go ahead and select different gammas over here on what you're going to be using. For an example, Canon, we got C-Log 3, C-Log, and C-Log 2. And let's come over here to the Panasonic. We got V-Log, we got the Red, all these different options over here. So Red Log Film, for an example. And the Sony, we got S-Log 3, S-Log, and S-Log 2. So overall, I think you guys are a little bit more familiar over here as far as the color. And next over here, we have the user LUT. So let's go ahead and select on it. You can see LUT 1, 2, and 3 are my own custom LUTs. So how do you actually load your own custom LUTs? Well, load your LUTs onto the SD card, insert the SD card, and then come over here and select where you want your LUT to be saved. So for an example, since I have nothing saved to LUT number 4, let's go ahead and click on that. And it's asking me, do you want to overwrite 3D LUT number 4? Yes, I do, because I don't have anything saved to that. So let's go ahead and click confirm because I want to overwrite it. And it's telling me no media. That's because I do not have an SD card installed. So no problem. Let's say okay. Let's get an SD card that I have my LUTs on, and let's go ahead and insert it here to the monitor. Okay. And now let's go ahead and do the same thing. Let's go to LUT number 4. Do we want to overwrite number 4? Yes, confirm. It's going to bring up all of the LUTs that I have saved. So let's pick one over here. Let's say we want this one over here, Vlog to Rec 709. So I can use this one for an example with my Panasonic GH6. So we don't actually tap on the one that we want. We need to use these arrow buttons and this little enter checkmark button over here onto the right hand side. So let's use the arrow button to scroll down. Let's select that one. So how do we select it? Now we select this little check mark over here, which is going to say, hey, is this really what you want to do? Do you want to use this LUT for number 4? Yes, of course. Let's go to confirm. And now it's going to take maybe a minute or two to write that LUT file to the number 4 LUT. Okay, perfect. So our LUT has loaded. File, write, complete. Let's select OK. And now it's going to come back over here to this main display screen, and it's going to show me LUT number 4 is now loaded, Vlog to Rec 709. Fantastic. Really impressed how easy it is to load our own custom LUTs. And we can actually use these arrow buttons over here to go between the different pages of the different LUTs that we have saved. Next, let's take a look over here for as far as probe. So is the probe options over here, so we can use either before user LUT or after user LUT. So next over here towards the bottom, we have the language that we can go ahead and change. I'm not gonna bother touching that. We have support that we can go ahead and scan these QR codes. So it's nice that we have all of this right here, easy access. As far as info, the time of making this video, this is the firmware version and build info, etc. that I'm using at the time of filming this. And we can go ahead and do a factory reset right over here. So now that you guys are a little bit more familiar with the different tools that we have available, and we do also have the menu settings over here that we can easily access. There is another icon over here to the bottom right hand side. If we go ahead and click on that, that's just going to easily bring up my set, so all the different sets that I have saved. So we were looking at my set 1. Let's take a peek at my set 2. So my set 2, you can see what I have enabled over here. We got my waveforms over there top right hand side. We do also have my focus assist, focus peaking little tool over here as well, and we do also have my aspect ratio. So any vertical filming that I want to do, for an example, for Instagram vertical reels, I can go ahead and turn on this aspect ratio for me to go ahead and easily film in that orientation. I can also enter in my own LUTs as well, along with my audio level meters, and I can add more tools here as well. So it's really easy to get to your different sets by easily clicking onto this button here onto the bottom right hand side, as you guys just saw. Or if I wanted to, you can just simply click onto my set right here onto the top, and it's going to bring up this same little menu over here. So let's go back to my set number 1. So guys, another quick and easy way for us to switch between our different saved sets over here. As you see, I have my set 1 open right now along with all my tools. We can actually swipe across the screen to go to our different sets that we have saved, and all of the tools that we have enabled or disabled, they are actually saved when we switch to our different sets. If we go over here to the top right into the middle, you can see Rec 709 to 709. You screen, click on that, and it brings up our color over here, the same settings that we were looking at into our menu. And to the top left hand side, you can see that if we click the HDMI and the resolution and frame rate, we can easily access to change our inputs as well from HDMI to SDI. And for us to close this menu over here, so all of these icons can kind of go away and we can have a nice big display of our image that we were filming, you can just press this back arrow button, and now we got the nice clear image over here on whatever we are filming. So guys, another helpful tool built into the G7 Pro, it actually features pinch to zoom. So let me just go ahead and quickly demonstrate. So with two fingers over here, you can just go ahead and zoom in. It actually zooms in quite far, and we can actually navigate throughout the screen as well, just by simply moving it around to kind of see which area maybe is in focus, for an example. So let's just go ahead and zoom in actually all the way. As you can see, it is a 4x zoom, and we can kind of just move around as we want to kind of see different areas of the image. And to zoom back out, pretty straightforward. You just use your two fingers as you would do onto your mobile phone. And as you guys can see here, it actually looks very nice even when it is zoomed in. All right, guys, so to discuss in a little bit more detail about this monitor's camera control feature, again, currently right now, we do have a list of cameras that are supported that this monitor can control. The G7 Pro will continue to upgrade to control more mainstream cameras. Currently, it does support these Canon cameras, these Sony cameras, and along with these Nikon and Fujifilm cameras. All right, guys, check it out. I have some exciting news for you. Osee has just added a bunch of camera models that the G7 Pro is going to be able to support, and the Panasonic lineup, the LUMIX, is actually one of them. They have added several different Panasonic cameras. I'm going to be sharing with you guys the list right over here onto the screen. And guess what? That is not all. They have also added Z cameras, the cinema camera, box-shaped cameras, several different models of the Z cam as well. And they're going to continue to add more camera support. So I'm actually super blown away and very happy about this, because I own two Panasonic GH6s and I own two Z cams as well, the Z Cam E2 M4 and the Z Cam E2 S6. And you can see right over here, I have the USB-C cable coming from the monitor going over here into my Panasonic GH6. This is the one touch control feature, switching feature between monitor controls, as you guys are already familiar with, all my tools that I have configured here towards the bottom. And the one touch control is actually this icon over here to the bottom left, all the way to the bottom left. And we can just go ahead and tap on that, and that's going to switch between monitor controls with all my tools now to my camera controls that you see over here to the left hand side. Starting off onto the top, this is basically like a touch to focus control. We have the shutter speed here at the top. We have the aperture controls, start and stop recording, ISO, white balance, and we can close this menu if we want to. And if we want to open it up, we just press over here onto the bottom left. Well, guys, it looks like a wrap for today's video. I definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. You guys can go ahead and judge for yourself. The G7 Pro has definitely changed the game. This is an amazing monitor. So many features, the menu settings and controls, the touchscreen, very easy to operate. Very impressed with this monitor. I will leave some links down in the description of this video where you can purchase this monitor, for an example, Amazon, or directly from the OC Tech website. Overall, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Till next time, peace.